Thanks for joining us on the Free World Podcast. Cameron with Tim, as always. Today we sat down with a couple of the competitors and one of the coaches from the upcoming Wimp to Warrior series. It is a worldwide event that happens where they take people who've never competed in MMA at all but always wanted to, and they put them through a 22-week camp. And at the end of the camp, they actually get in a cage and compete in amateur MMA. It's pretty wild, but talking to those guys, sounds like they got a lot more from it than they expected, and they're getting to compete, which is pretty sweet.
It's way cool, especially the confidence that they've gained, the backgrounds that they have, and the friendships they made, and just their take on fighting and the training and the respect that they have developed throughout the entire camp, and realize like, oh yeah, it's not just two people getting in a cage and just trying to kill each other. It's like having respect for that other person, knowing that they went through the same trials and tribulations, and they're across from you, and you both have to make it out alive. Just maybe, one's going to have their hand raised up at the end, the other's not. But I think it was Wendy and Brandon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the both of them probably got as much as you could probably get out of it, and their testimonies, and the way that they described their experiences, you can see that they developed humility for sure, and an understanding for putting your body through the stressors that they're not used to. And dude, Brandon lost like 40 pounds. Mm-hmm. That's incredible, and totally. That's insane. At the same time. February. That's insane, dude. It's insane. I would have never guessed that guy even could have put 40 pounds on his frame. So I was kind of interested on the process of how they were selected, because we really didn't dive into that much, which is fine. That's more or less just from my understanding and a little bit of background. But as far as the camp and the training, and knowing that they had trained, with the people that they are actually competing against, and the love that they have for their opponents, and the respect that they have, I think it kind of brings into perspective for everybody who's never been a part of a training process, or, had a certain goal in mind where they were put through rigorous 5:30, a.m. training, and, family of 6 kids, and I think a lot of people who listen to this are going to be very surprised at how important it is to make yourself uncomfortable and to put yourself into situations, and like Wendy was saying, not regret anything that you could have done. It's better to have tried something and failed than to look back. Yeah, and to look back and think, man, I should have tried that. At least, I would have had the experience of, boxing. Like for Wendy, she always wanted to box, and she got in the ring. She realized she fell in love with, jiu-jitsu. And isn't that what she's saying, right? Yeah. And she didn't realize all the different aspects and all the different types of training that go into just one, like, 3-minute fight, right? Or 3-round 3-minute fight. Mm-hmm. Three 3-minute round fights. I can't say that. Lots of threes. But, no, man, you did a great job. You were able to, you corralled everything. You did a good job interviewing. I think you pulled out the best in both of them. Jesse was awesome. He's a great coach. I think everybody who's listened to the previous few shows that he's been on.
Always a pleasure having him on.
Yeah. And he's almost like, he reminds me of like a monk in a way, where he's very quiet, and when he says something, it's always important.
Definitely.
It's always like the...
Well, and those two clearly admire him, which is great. They've gained a good relationship with Jesse. I thought it was really impressive to hear that although we think of MMA as a very physically grueling sport, how much they gain from it sort of emotionally, mentally, and just personally, just in their day-to-day life, other than just, your traditional fitness program where you get in shape. Mm-hmm. That was pretty impressive to hear. And it's cool to see that there's something like this for people who, because I think it's pretty normal for people to watch MMA and just in the back of their mind go, what could I do if I tried that? Or, that'd be really cool to try. Or like Brandon said, it's like a bucket list thing of, man, one day I should do that. But I think the majority of the people kind of sit on the fence, whereas Wimp to Warrior provides an opportunity for if you really want to do something, if you want to challenge yourself, if you just want to try it out, if you want to get in there, if you've ever been on the fence, come down. You're going to be with a bunch of other people who also have never done anything like this before, and it'll change your life. And clearly it has for those guys.
Yeah. 6 months, that's a long time to dedicate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been through lots of sports in my day, all the way through college and everything, and you see a drop off of people who are extremely talented and love what they do. And then to have two people who have come in and made themselves vulnerable, doing something that they never done before,
mm-hmm.
and they can stick it out compared to like people who I know should have gone professional in certain things and they can't hack it. It's something that's, it's not common, and it's super cool that we have something like that here in Idaho with SBG Combat Fitness. And we're able to kind of provide, at least for the Valley, you guys provide for the Valley, like an option for people who have been on the fence,
mm-hmm.
and maybe not have been able to afford it or had enough backing and support for something like that. A
Sure.
mom of 6 kids, like how many people are going to be like, yeah, you should go train for 6 months and get in a fight? Like,
Yeah,
not common, man. Yeah. If I saw a lady like her, like if I saw a woman like Wendy and she's like, yeah, and I didn't know anything about sports, right, or like MMA, and I saw her, I'd be like, yo, girl, you're too pretty. Don't get punched in the face. You got 6 kids to worry about. You have a husband, like you're
41.
You're self-employed. Yeah, you've got all these different things. Why would you put yourself in a situation where, it could be a not so great of a turnout, or maybe you might get a little bit
she's just not the
down on herself.
stereotypical
She's
person that
not.
you would see jump in and do this. But I mean, her story is great of just what she's gained from it, what she's looking to do. She says she's going to do it forever.
Yeah.
Brandon too. Really just really people who've stepped out of the normal, what you would think of as just your MMA fighter, and really giving themselves a shot.
Yeah, totally.
Excited to see.
I'm excited to see both of them fight. Brandon, that guy's a hoot, dude. We chatted off mic earlier, and just two good people.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the types of people that don't surprise me when it comes to sticking it through, because once you get to know them and you kind of like engage in conversation and you chit chat about certain things, you realize the reason why these people have sacrificed so much is because they've already sacrificed so much in their lives.
Totally.
And they're taking an opportunity to better themselves, and they have formed a support group around them that continuously encourages them, both on and off the mats. And it's cool, man. This Friday is going to be sweet. It'll be really fun to watch these fights and see it unfold, and just to see like how happy they are. Win or lose, both of these guests are probably going to be super stoked.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Can't wait. August 2nd, Friday night, Knitting Factory in Boise. You can get tickets on TicketWeb or the SPG Idaho website, or from the fighters themselves. Come down and check it out. These guys have had quite the journey. Looking forward to seeing how this goes.
Yeah, be sweet, man. Any shout-outs?
Nope, I'm good.
Awesome. Make sure you subscribe, give us 5 stars, pass the episode along, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I got a cold. Peace.
Shut up and sit down.
Thanks for joining us on the Free Roll Podcast today. Today we are talking about Wimp to Warrior. It's a really cool event that's coming up here. A lot of athletes have been working on, coaches have been working really hard on. And today we're going to talk to a couple of athletes and one of the coaches about the upcoming event. So first, I just want you to just tell us who you are and where you're from. Wendy?
My name is Wendy Ellsworth, and I'm originally from Utah, Kearns, Utah, K-Town, for people who know what that is. Got remarried about 8 years ago. Moved me and my kids here. So,
Sweet.
Yep.
Awesome.
Brandon Willard. I grew up in Emmett, Idaho, but I've kind of lived a little bit of everywhere, and now I live out in Kuna.
Awesome.
Jesse Brock, born and raised in Alaska, came here to wrestle. Been here like 20 years, so.
Nice.
I'm an Idahoan now.
Now you're an Idahoan. No more Alaska.
Cool.
Cool. I really want to get into this Wimp to Warrior thing. Jesse, can you explain what it is?
Yeah. Well, I recently became acquainted with it. It was last fall. It was at spring camp in Portland, and Richie Crane, he was the founder. He's Australian fellow. Actually, sorry, UK, I think. UK or Australia.
One of those accents.
One of those, yeah. No, I think he's from the UK, but he lives in Australia, so you got that. Anyhow, he was explaining the way it worked, and it basically you take people that have never trained before, and you basically put them through a fight camp. And the interesting part of, and then at the end of it, they actually have a sanctioned MMA fight, pretty cool. The program was intended to reach people that normally wouldn't find their way into a gym like that. And then, so to take somebody that, wouldn't go to a place like that themselves and to, get them prepared to actually do a sanctioned bout is pretty amazing, and in a short amount of time. We're talking 5.5 months, from the day they walk in to the day they're actually in a cage fighting somebody.
So you guys are actually going to be fighting somebody here soon.
Yep.
Awesome. They have more than one of this, right? There's various locations where this happens.
Yeah, so it's a worldwide organization, and they go around to different gyms, different host gyms, and they help them obviously promote it because it's a moneymaker for the gym itself. But it's also just an awesome way to just get MMA out, martial arts out to again, people that would normally probably shy away from that type of thing. I think mixed martial arts gyms, especially MMA gyms, have a stigma that's attached to them, which is it's only for fighters. You're going to go in there, you're going to get beat up right away, and that's not the case. At least most schools that have evolved, and it's a great way to just introduce martial arts to people. And the fact that they're getting in there and competing is and doing something that they never thought they could do is pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome transformation physically, mentally, emotionally. And ultimately this is what it's intended to be, is just a vehicle for transformation. And it's all over the world. It's at some of the larger MMA schools, aka El Nino Training Center, TriStar does it. It's at Extreme Couture in Vegas. All of the SBG schools, or at least, know what it's about, and the larger ones. SBG Ireland out in Dublin, and it's starting to trickle out to all the other ones. I believe that the UK has done a season or two.
I think Dublin just started their second one last week.
Yeah. So it's. Just being plugged into that now, I see how widespread it is, and I think it's just only getting bigger now. I think they're starting to really create a bigger footprint here in North America, and I'm excited that SBG Idaho gets to be a part of it.
That's amazing. It sounds like an amazing thing people get to experience. So when are you guys fighting?
This Friday, August 2nd.
August 2nd. Brandon, when did you guys get started?
When did we start?
End of February. February 25th.
Yeah, my newborn son was born about 3 weeks later.
No kidding.
I ended up taking off a couple of days training, but...
So you were jumping into a couple different things there.
Well, I think the following week I ended up bringing the two older ones into gym with me, just so I could keep training.
Did you have any martial arts experience before you guys started with this?
Zero.
None at all. How about you, Wendy?
I literally did karate with my brother when I was like 12. I mean, that was it.
Okay,
yeah.
That's it. Nice. So Wendy, what inspired you to do this?
About a year ago, actually I think it was a year ago in August, I've always wanted to do boxing. Something I love watching it. I always wanted to do it. And I turned 40, had just recently lost my dad to leukemia, and was one of those moments like, if you're going to do something, you need to do it now. I learned by watching him over 3 years just fight for his life that nothing's promised, and just waiting for what. So I looked up like best boxing places in Idaho, and SBG came up, and I made an appointment and went in and started with Coach Mike Ransom. He's in Montana right now. Yep. Yeah. So I was loving that, and then I would see like Vita and those guys doing MMA, and I'm like, I like it. So Mike's the one who told me about Wimp Warrior. He said, there's this program, you should check it out, and that's how I got started.
So you originally got started just wanting to do boxing.
Yeah.
Interesting. And just being around the gym, seeing the fighters kind of got you inspired to do MMA then.
Yep.
Interesting. That's quite a transition. You're adding so much more to your game, so much more to training.
Oh, yeah. It's been, I mean, I love it. Like, it's something I think about. I mean, my husband will tell you, I'm just like, I'll be walking and I'll be like looking at people like, oh, okay, if they grab me here, I could like grab them here and turn. And yeah, it's just it's become like an addiction almost, like it's addictive to the jiu-jitsu side. I'll do that forever, I think. Like,
awesome.
I love it. Yeah.
It really is addictive. It just kind of becomes part of you, and you think about it when you're not with it. You're wanting to do stuff like you said. You assess people.
Yeah.
I do that too. I do
just
totally
sizing people up.
Yeah, totally.
It's so bizarre.
Totally.
Just at the light, like, what's up?
I'll be looking at somebody in traffic, and my wife's like, "Why are you staring at that dude?" I'm like, I think he's probably a welterweight, but if he ate right, he could make lightweight.
Right.
Just dumb stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, my family doesn't get it, but it's okay.
Not a lot of people do. It's a really different avenue that some people take, but you guys have been inspired to take it. So it sounds like you had some pretty powerful motivators to get involved with combat sports. What inspired you, Brandon? How'd you get started?
I think my kids are what drove me. That, and I lost my dad 5 years ago to cancer, and he was a workaholic and died with nothing. So I kind of want to build something that my kids have to look up to. And 3 boys, I definitely don't want to be out of shape when they get up to the age of being able to whoop my butt. And I've been one in fight behind a store, and it lasted all of a minute and a half. And I was like, okay, tie.
It's not like the movies, is it?
Nope. And that's like one thing about jiu-jitsu. You're like, oh, they're just rolling around the ground. It's not that much of a workout. And then you do it, and you're covered in sweat in 5 minutes. You're like, yeah, that's a workout.
Whole different workout. Absolutely. Different workout.
A lot of it was my depression, and like I was literally just watching YouTube videos, drinking and smoking in my garage when Jesse texted me, and I just saw it on Facebook. It's like Wimp Warrior, like, is kind of one of those gym things you see when you scroll through Facebook. You're like, try out for this, try out for that, and I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll try it, and missed the first week, almost a full week. So I was like, oh, certain days you come in and try out. So I ended up coming in on Friday, which is strength training day. So I missed all week and then got thrown in on strength training and didn't do too well personally, I think. And that's what kind of drove me to keep pushing myself, and messed my toe up on the box the first day. So I was like, okay,
ouch.
I'm gonna work that box till I can get it. And I just kept telling myself every morning, like, you gotta do it. Like, don't give up. Like, there's some mornings where I'm like, it's gonna be hard, but at the same time, even waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, like, look at my boys, and I'm like, all right, get my gym clothes on, see you in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
To remind me, because I remember calling you specifically. I think might have been Zoe that reached out to me and said you were on the fence, so she wanted me to contact you directly. Did you end up making, because we had the 3 tryouts, did you end up making one of those, or did you end up just coming into practice?
I just came in on Friday.
But it was a normal practice, like we were already through the tryouts?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I remember, because, I think we almost missed Brandon. Zoe had sent me a message. She's one of the people within the organization that helps organize, and she's over there in Australia. So, but made it a point, I think, talking to you herself, she said, I think this guy would be a great addition to the program. I think he needs it, and so I'm really thankful I made that call.
Me too.
Yeah. I think Elliot was the same way. He'd missed the tryouts. He was off working, but still wanted to come in, and and I like the tryouts because it gives us a chance to see people, and I guess, vet them a little bit, or make sure they're going to be a benefit to the program. And so sometimes you're taking a risk on people who don't get to actually meet. But yeah, it definitely worked out well. I mean, watching Brandon's transformation, especially like physically, has been incredible. And I think everybody's made that physical transformation, but his is one of the more pronounced ones.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely appreciate everybody in the gym, coaches and teammates, because like it's the teammates that drive you and the coaches that push you, and it's yourself that gets your ass out of the bed and get to the gym. And to be honest, I've never, like, I'm a physical labor kind of guy, so owning my own construction company, like, that's all I do is physical labor, so I never really bothered working out. Except last time I was in a gym full time was weightlifting in high school, and being 34 and never in a gym ever really, and then going right into one for 5 months, and then I just signed up with to do more training even after this, just because it's almost a mental clarity for me, because it gives me a little bit to work for, and then plus it's something I could pass down to my kids too. And my 6-year-old boy is like, I want to do classes too.
It sounds like before you got started, you mentioned depression and smoking in the garage, so maybe not in the best place mentally or physically. When you show up to the gym, especially, what's different about an MMA gym is you have coaches directing you every second of everything that you do.
Yep.
Different from your athletic club where you go in and you can kind of do whatever you want.
You got to use your own motivation.
Right, exactly. There's
unless
not
you got a
somebody there
personal
telling you
trainer,
to.
I guess.
Sure, absolutely. But for the most part, people kind of go in and do what they want, and then they go home and kind of do the same thing. They go home and just eat regularly or whatever. So how has training affected what you do outside of training? You mentioned you were sitting in your garage smoking and drinking. Still doing that on the weekends or every night, or are you doing different stuff? Are you eating differently?
I've smoked a couple of cigarettes.
He's like, coach is next to me, so.
But no, I'll be honest, I've smoked a little bit here and there, and then when I injured my shoulder, I kind of started feeling myself getting a little depressed, because I was like, okay, this is really starting to hurt, and I'm like, I telling the coach, I was like, I really want to fight, but at the same time, like, I got to be honest with myself and with my providing for my family and stuff like that. But got fixed up pretty good, and I'm actually feeling better than I was a little bit before. Now I just got to keep at it. But
so you're still in the fight.
Oh yeah,
still ready to go.
And then as far as at home, like, even with my business, like, I don't run out of energy like I did before. Like, halfway through the day, like, the only reason why I'm tired halfway through the day is because I get worked up for an hour and a half right first thing in the morning. But as long as I eat healthy and stay away from the bad stuff, I've actually helps me out pretty good as far as my energy duration. And the last couple of weeks, kind of feel it kind of working back out of me, because I didn't work as much when I had a hurt shoulder. So it was just almost starting over mentally, and then trying to work through the injury, and then keep telling myself I could do it.
Good, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're still going to be able to compete. That's fantastic. How about you, Wendy? Has it changed kind of how you look at things outside of the gym, whether it be nutrition or how you take care of your body or anything like that?
It's changed everything. I mean, you want to sound cliche, but it's literally changed the way I look at everything. Just the mental side. I think for me, I had a friend say to me, I think you did this, after losing your dad. I think this has helped you. That wasn't like, I'm going to do Wimp to Warrior because of my dad. I was doing it because of him, because he was an athlete, like the best person overall, but an athlete himself. I mean, he could school us on the basketball court, and he, and we feel like we're okay at sports, but he was just an incredible athlete. So to see somebody like that at that level and just deteriorate, it did. It got me. I always think I'm pretty tough mentally, but so when she said that, I was like, maybe I am. Maybe it is helping me process certain things that I didn't process. I was there when he passed, and it's, you can't explain it unless you've gone through it, and it's shaped the way I look at everything, to be honest. Just life, I feel like this experience itself, like I think, okay, I'm 41 years old now. I have 6 kids, and I want them to see, that you can do it however old you are. I mean, I'm feeling it. Like, who was it, Hayden? He's like, I just turned 21. I was like, oh, you're my son's age. Come here, son. Come here. And so, but it's definitely, I feel like the mental side, the physical is huge, because for me, I played sports all through school, played basketball and volleyball, and in basketball, I needed that coach to just kick my butt, because I would be like, if I was tired, I would stop. But if I had that coach like Jesse and all the coaches there that will push me, so that's been, but the mental side, I think, has been more transformable for me than physical. I feel better. Definitely, like, I have more energy at home, even though I am tired too. Like, sometimes my little boy wasn't sleeping good, and he was diagnosed with autism about 1.5 years ago. Wow. And so we've been struggling with just a lot of therapies and helping him. I had 5 kids prior with the previous marriage, and I felt like I know what I'm doing. And then my husband Keith and I had him together, and he got diagnosed, and it's been really challenging in a lot of different ways that I've never had to deal with. So some days, honestly, I was so tired and mentally tired, and I would think, like, my alarm's going off at 4:30. Like, you gotta get your butt out of bed. And but I know that for me mentally, like, I need to do it. Sometimes on the weekends, I'm like, man, I'm in a bad mood. Like, my kids are like, what is wrong with her? Because I'm just like, I haven't gone to the gym that morning. And, like, this morning, I was in a funk. I mean, even if I know I am, and my poor husband's like, oh, Lord.
It's just like, go. Just go.
Just get to the
just
gym.
Don't even care. Just
get
go.
it out. Punch something. Yeah.
I hear you. That's every Sunday at my house. I'll
Yeah.
just be getting all antsy, and my wife's just like, just go.
Yeah,
just go
do
down
something.
there.
Yeah.
Leave, please. You're so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, all right, fine. It's interesting to hear you both talk about your transformation, because Jesse talked about kind of your physical transformation, Brandon, but you both really hit on the sort of emotional and mental side of what you've gained from this experience. Wendy, is that something you expected?
No. I mean, to be honest, like I said, I just wanted to do boxing. And then when Coach Mike said this, I thought, for me, it's just a challenge. I like to see what I can do. Even if I fail, I'm like, at least I tried, right? So I thought, I just want to see what I can do with this. It would be awesome if I can fight, but even let's just give it a shot. I didn't expect the mental side, to be honest. Like, kind of like what Brandon said, when I would see the jiu-jitsu people, like when I was there for boxing and they're just wrapping up or whatever, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would see them. I was kind of like, it looks kind of cool, but, you're not like punching stuff, and I didn't get it. And then we started doing it, and just that mental part of, like, everything in my life would go away for that time. And I would just be like, I don't care about the bills. I don't care.
It's like tunnel vision.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on, like, oh crap, like, they're gonna choke me, so I gotta figure out how to get out of this, or I want to choke them. So or just so it actually was just kind of shocking to me that mental part. And I was trying to explain it to my husband, like, you don't get, it's like a more of a mental, it is like kind of cleansing, like, just mentally. I guess if you don't do it, you don't get it. I mean, I've had a lot of people say, like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
That's my least favorite question.
It's hard to answer. I ask it to everyone. It's hard to answer.
But I think a lot of it is what you take from it, too.
Sure.
Just like you would doing anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to do something that's going to be the same thing, but everybody's going to take a little bit different approach to it, or take away something different. And that's what I love about the coaches, is because each one has their own insight on how they are a fighter already and how they do things. So when you work with each individual coach, like some of their analogies and stuff like that, it's chiseled around what they've always been trained and stuff like that. So you almost get a little bit of each one of your coaches in a training session, and that's one of the things that I love, along laundry list of other things, but going in and rolling and just being in the zone, and then letting everything else kind of fall behind, like Wendy's saying, it is cleansing. Because then I go to work, and then I'm like, I had a good workout, and I get to my truck all sweaty.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
It like we talked about, it just gives you that tunnel vision where nothing else matters. All you can think about is what's happening right then. It's not optional.
Right.
But it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about you look at things differently. I know, at least for me, if I have some 200-pound dude trying to choke me unconscious, when I go to work or home or whatever, I look at problem solving differently, because I'm just like, this isn't someone trying to kill me. This is like, I just need to fix the toilet. I can figure this out.
It also gives you a little patience.
Totally.
The perspective, totally different. When people are like, I had a really bad day, or like, well, what's a bad day? I mean, you didn't die.
For sure.
I mean, that's, you know what I mean? You had a bad moment.
Yeah.
That I think words are
it.
powerful. Like, I'm always telling my kids, you be careful how you use your words, because they are powerful. If you're putting that out there, they're like, oh, I'm so tired, you're gonna feel tired. But saying I had a bad day, no, you had a bad moment. You might have had a bad couple moments. Someone was crappy to you at the store. Okay, they probably were having a crappy moment themselves, and they didn't show their best. Didn't put their best foot forward. I think if we're honest, we've all done that. I've had bad times where I'm like, man, if they saw me, they're like, what a...
Man, I really sucked.
Yeah, you had a really bad moment.
That's a really good way to look at it. That's some good perspective. These guys have talked a lot about their emotional and mental journey, and have touched really very little on the physical side. What does it mean to you as a coach to hear that?
It's definitely rewarding. I think sometimes we're so in... we're there every day, so we're seeing, like, sometimes I have to remind myself where they started and where they came from, because you see just that small percentage of improvement each day, and but I'm not necessarily the one experiencing it either, so it's definitely good to hear. I mean, I know you guys have made progress, and obviously when I look back to where we all began, then I realize how much it's actually been. So but yeah, it's definitely rewarding to hear. You sometimes wonder as a coach if you're really making a difference, because sometimes I don't do the best job. I know that, and sometimes it's good. Sometimes I don't necessarily put my best foot forward either. I don't word things properly. I get emotional too. It's teaching people that have never done this kind of thing, and
I'm sure that's so frustrating. I would go home and tell my husband, poor coach.
No, it actually hasn't.
Because he's like, the other leg, you have two legs. Put the other leg over.
Yeah.
No, it actually hasn't. I think the biggest thing for me is just that I'm not a morning person, so like forcing myself to get up that early, and try to be on and make sure I'm doing my best job to prepare you guys. And the cool thing is, I talked to Richie Craney, the founder of it, and he asked me, he checks in with me every now and then about how things are going. And one thing I said to him is, it's made me a better coach overall, because the way we coach athletes to get in the cage now is it's what you're doing is much more streamlined. If somebody says they want to get in the cage, okay, you're gonna, but they have no prior experience, you're gonna build those parts first. You're gonna spend some time on the ground. We're not thinking about a fight. We're just, how do you handle yourself on the ground when there's only grappling involved? How do we handle ourselves in a striking match when there's only striking involved? Before we start blending different parts of the fight together, we're just gonna make sure we can do those things reasonably well when we understand what we're supposed to be doing. And then we work on putting it all together, kind of like you guys are. And we've had to do both those things kind of at once, or in a very short amount of time. So it's helped me figure out what's most important for a mixed martial arts fight, and I think it's going to help me coach the fighters better. And because sometimes I think with them, so because I'm not directly overseeing all their jiu-jitsu, all their boxing, all their Muay Thai. I don't. In some cases I do, but in a lot of cases I don't. So then they get to MMA practice with me, and I expect them to have a certain level of skill, and it's not always there. It's just different, it's definitely made me better in terms of, okay, this is not everyone's going to be the same when they get to my practices. And okay, but taking all that out, what is the most important thing? What is going to make them the most successful in a mixed martial arts bout right now? And so it's definitely been a learning experience for me. I've gained a lot as a coach, and I've waking up at 5:30 a.m. is not that big of a deal to me anymore. Which is when we started this, just dreading it. Like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Should have brought you coffee more often.
Yeah, no, I've really appreciated it. And it's just gratifying to hear that it's paid off, and and then they've experienced the benefits that we hoped they would have in the beginning, because I didn't know how this was going to go. This was all kind of brand new to me and scary, and the folks that run the program, that oversee everything, have been awesome, and they've given me a lot of support and a lot of guidance, and it's going to make me a better coach everywhere. But definitely doing this again, it's going to make me that much better too, and our whole staff, not just me.
What time you guys training?
We train at 5:30, so he wakes up earlier than 5:30.
How many days a week?
5.
So 5:30 a.m. 5 days a week you guys are in the training, and you came in to do this program, no experience before. So
you got to give a little sacrifice to get in return. So.
Right, some sacrifice, some reward.
Yeah.
Awesome. These guys are training their butts off at 5:30. That's crazy. First of all, you say you're not a morning person, Jesse. I've known you long enough to understand. I still haven't figured out the time of day that you of a person you are. Really, you're not really a night person. I don't know that you're really an afternoon person. You're not really a morning person.
Do you sleep at all?
Are you sure you're just not this way?
I am. No, I'm definitely in a better mood at night.
I'm a weekend person.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekend, middle of the afternoon. That's my sweet spot. That's it.
Catch me like 4:30. I'm probably good.
So when these guys, having not trained before, come in every day at 5:30, how does that make you feel about other fighters that can't make it at night regularly? You don't have to answer that.
Yeah, everybody is different, and
Sure.
obviously, they've made it work for their schedule, and I just admire them. Number one, I wake up and I coach, so there's some effort to that, but I'm not the one that's actually physically exerting himself at
Sure.
5:30 a.m. And so, I mean, hats off. I definitely appreciate your guys' effort, and I know the other coaches do too. We're excited for next Friday. Like, we're super stoked. I'm excited for the fights, the matchups that we've made. I think they're going to be exciting, and you never know. You get somebody the first time in the cage, but just based on what I've seen in training, I'm excited. This to me is the fun part, and we get to let these guys go and perform, and hopefully we create an awesome event that is going to be on par with the level of excitement that they're going to produce in the cage. So,
Wendy, what's been the most surprising thing that you've seen or experienced from this experience that it was either mostly unexpected or most surprising to you?
Most surprising.
Was there a certain element of it that you actually enjoy more than you thought you would, like jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I started boxing, I would watch, but I'm just like, what are they? Even just the warm-ups.
Sure.
Now we do them, but I was like, I feel like because I'm kind of taller. I mean, not you're tall, but you should have seen me trying to fall.
Break fall.
All of it. I was like, like
a long
some
way
kind
down.
of tree. Like,
Yeah.
Timber.
And it just felt so awkward. I never did anything like that. I played sports standing up. I wasn't falling on purpose. And so I would watch and I would think, oh, that looks kind of interesting, which is a word that people use when they're almost mocking it. I think when someone says, that's interesting, you're like, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So when I started doing it, I was like, wait a second, this is way different than I thought. That was surprising to me because it's not, you're not hitting or I don't know. That surprised me a lot. And that started getting in my brain.
I think you're surprised initially how much of a fight it really is. Because you don't associate it because there's not in just pure jiu-jitsu when you're learning it. You're not striking each other.
Oh yeah, like Coach Jesse or Freddie. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm kind of strong. I mean, not comparably, like, I'll go against the guys and then they just pick me up and throw me. But I feel like, oh, I kind of got this. And then you got this little Freddy just, like, climbing up your body like a little snake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is happening? And then before I know it, I'm gone. Choke. Night-night. So that was surprising, honestly, because, you know, when you kind of size someone up, just in general, you're like, all right.
I could take them.
All right.
They're small.
I mean, I'm not anything about myself, just in general, you know, you just kind of look at them, and now I'm like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, humble pie right there. These guys are amazing. Right. I mean, he's the GOAT, obviously. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At everything. Everything that he's, I just feel so lucky to be able to have had him as a coach. And to have him in my corner now, I mean, just saying. I feel like we have a pretty good corner. But he's taught me so much, probably more than he realizes, when he's saying, you know, I don't know, sometimes if I'm putting my best foot. Just, I like I'm not going to get emotional, but he reminds me of my dad in the quiet, just that demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very, like, calming for me. That's just when he talks and tells you something, even though I'm sure he's like, come on. Get this,
a little
girl.
louder in his head.
Yeah, but just he's very like just mellow. What does Coach Parker call us? Team chill.
Yeah.
I was like, I might be
team danger.
Team danger.
Well,
that's right, buddy.
They're in team in danger. No, just kidding.
So there's two teams to this then.
There is now.
So you're on two teams. So there wasn't originally.
Yeah, we were training all together, and then we split off about.
When we
4 weeks ago.
No, it was longer than that. It was about 8 weeks, I think. Yeah, because there's about, it's overall 21, 22 weeks. I forget exactly, but we tried to space the training out into 3 different phases. So first part we were learning a lot, and minimal amount of sparring, you know, building skills, both standing and on the ground. Then we started doing more sparring, you know, not quite full on, but we were grappling a lot, you know, clinching a lot, and starting to put elements together, you know, putting our striking together with our grappling, our clinching, and then the last phase, when we obviously part of that was just getting the event together, you know, knowing where it was going to be and when, and you know, we kept telling everybody's asking, well, do you know where it's going to be, and working on it.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, we got it figured out, and luckily we got it timed well. So the final third phase of training, we split the coaching staff apart, split the athletes apart based on the matchups that we wanted to create, and then in our gym we've got front room, back room, and we've just been alternating every week there. So some people have the small cage room, which, you know, it's obviously closer to what's going to be in a fight, and it can feel a little claustrophobic, so it's important to train there. So we're getting that feel, and then yeah. So we haven't been watching each other train. Myself and the other coaches have been trying to coordinate a little bit, just so everybody's on the same page, and so they haven't been training with their opponent, and so I think that's cool. I think that's been important this last phase, where we're doing a lot more sparring. People are getting used to getting hit. There's a few more emotions involved. Just getting used to that, and it's so that's part of what's excited me leading up to Friday night is, you know, I think, you know, they're kind of in their final form now, but they haven't been training with the person that they're going to compete while that's been going on. So, you know, I think it'd be cool. They'll be reunited in the cage. Final
and
form,
it feels
like
so
Super
good.
Saiyan.
Yeah, and there's only been the guy I'm fighting, Petty. I think we've only trained together a few times throughout the weeks, so it's not like we know each other's strengths and weaknesses a whole lot. Because that's one misconception that I got right off the get-go is like, how hard do you train or how soft do you train? And sometimes you have to learn the hard way. But
you'll be trying to figure that out for years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it changes with everybody too.
Yep. Well, especially the progression that you make and the individual that you're training with too. Like,
totally,
you gotta realize they're getting better as you're getting better. So it's gonna be a give and take kind of thing. And as far as working with everybody, I think I've pretty much rolled with everybody in the class, and it's Wimp to Warrior family for a reason. Like, you get a best of both worlds, training and on the outside, and just the motivation.
And I've been impressed with how, because that was my concern too when we split each other up, and now you're fighting that person. What was the dynamic going to be, you know, going forward? Because you guys obviously, you know, created friendships within that group, and now, you know, maybe somebody you're friends with isn't on your team, or, you know, maybe you're actually competing against them. But everybody's been super mature, just like understands what it's all about, really.
Sure.
And you know, I have to ask myself sometimes if I would be as gracious or understanding, you know, and still want to remain friends with that person. And I don't know. I think so, at least the way I am now. But, you know, when I first started and this was all kind of fresh and scary, I don't know if I could have had that level of emotional maturity that these guys have displayed. So it's pretty impressive.
I know. I kind of wondered, like, would it be better if I hated this person? I hate's a strong word. I wouldn't hate, but, you know, don't know them, and I would, like, just stare at them like,
you kind of make the picture up in your mind of who they are, what they are,
Don't
find
care for
reasons
them.
not to like them.
But then I know my opponent. We trained pretty much the entire time because we're about the same height and weight, and so she and I trained most of the time together.
Yeah.
And she's a great person, and she's put in just as much work, you know. So
Sure.
I think there's just that mutual respect that I didn't expect, maybe, that you just feel like, you know what, she's worked her butt off too, and we're just both going to go out and do our best. I mean,
Do you think that's made it easier or harder?
harder for me.
Yeah.
For me personally, like when I would compete for sports, I'd rather be like,
Right. You're the enemy.
just not even that, but just like, yeah, just that,
need
not
to
that
beat you.
emotional. Yeah, just, I think that'd be easier in a way, because you're like, dang, I actually like this person. You know, I mean, it's a fight. You're going to get hit.
Sure.
They're going to hit you, but
Sure.
you don't want to actually, like, I think we've talked about that. Like, nobody wants to, like, really hurt this
Of
person.
course, yeah.
Everyone said they have jobs outside of this,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you guys both have kids.
Yeah, we got to, like, still be able to, you know, function.
Absolutely. That's a very good point.
So that was kind of, that part was a little surprising.
That is an interesting dynamic. I mean, really, because you guys spent the first, 12 weeks then training together, and then they just
5
split you
days a
off
week. I mean, you know, every morning.
like, hey, we're splitting off because you're actually going to fight her. So just
No,
FYI.
no more after training lattes.
Well, that's that. And
We still go to breakfast.
Right. I was gonna say, according, you know, or they've still been maintaining a relationship outside. You know, I mean, there's a lot of good-natured teasing, you know,
Yeah.
between Team Danger.
Oh, yeah.
And
Team Chill.
yeah, Team In Danger.
That was that was Parker's name. I was like, maybe I'm on the wrong team.
Yeah. But yeah,
Team
I'll see
Chill.
pictures of them going out, grabbing breakfast afterwards, and to me, it's been awesome to see.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you know, I'm stoked to see that they've created friendships that hopefully last outside of this competition, and also that, you know, Brandon touched on it. He signed up to continue training, and Wendy as well, and that's, to me, that's super cool too, because that was beyond all else. I'd hope that that would happen, that they find something that they can stay involved in, and it's going to help you deal with things. You know, it's going to keep you healthy physically. It's going to help you your mental and emotional well-being going forward. And you know, I always tell people that want to fight, like, you know, and this comes from Coach Rory Singer in SPG, and I'm just basically stealing it from him, but like, we're going to make you a martial artist first, because your window as a fighter, and you know, this is what I tell young guys, like, you know, 16-year-old kids that come in, I was like, your window as a fighter is going to be relatively small compared to what your overall journey in martial arts could be. And if you have that, if you have something that's going to keep you plugged into people you care about, keep you doing things that you enjoy, maybe you can't compete at a high level physically anymore, but you can still get in there and mix it up on the training mats. You can still pass on your knowledge and help guide somebody else. You can compete, you know, through helping others. And so yeah, it's that, to me, that's one of the more gratifying pieces of it too.
And that's what, you know, I've thought a lot about that. I want to use, what I've learned here, just in general, like I want to use my life for something bigger, something better to help other people along their journey, whatever that might be. But I've talked to my husband about this. I feel like this has helped me kind of hone in on what that is, because I've always felt it, like I want to use my life for something, something great, but that's helping others. And I feel like, especially for women and maybe in the domestic violence side of it, to come out and train. I just feel like that's, something that, because I don't think people get, that a lot of times they are having all these emotions like depression or anxiety or,
Sure.
and they don't realize, like, you come in and hit a bag, you just feel, I mean, I've said it for a long time, they should have boxing, in schools. And people think that's going to create kids wanting to fight, but it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
If these kids can get out some of their aggression and, just then like, okay, now I can focus.
Most people I know that learn to fight want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they're not the
outside of
ones that
training.
are going to go pick a fight.
Yeah, I'm like the least confrontational person, unless you like do something to really.
I think they get it out in
irritate me.
training. You get all that like pent up, whatever it is.
You totally get it out, and you understand what fighting is like, because it's not like it is on TV in the movies.
Yeah, until you actually get punched in the face.
It's a whole different world.
Everyone
First time
has
you
a
get
game
punched in the
plan,
face, like,
and you're like, wait a
oh.
second. Jesse caught me good one day in training, and I'm sure for me it was a good hit. For him, it was probably just a little tap, but he caught me with like a hook, and I just like, my neck just crack, and I felt like my whole neck crack all the way down my back, and I was like, I kind of fell down like, wait a second. And I was like, okay, I better keep that hand up, Yep, that was the lesson learned.
And you were okay?
But
right?
then you're fine, Yeah, you get hit, but you're okay.
You get back up, you're
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't the first time you got hit either, right?
No,
That was your
but
first
but I
experience.
mean, like, I was kind of like, okay, that was a good one.
Yeah. they get through, that's for sure. So you guys are not on the same team. Is that
No.
right? Okay.
I'm Team Red.
And who are your coaches?
So my coach is Coach Jesse.
That's cheating, but okay.
I know. We got the good one. Daniel Marin for the boxing,
Mhm.
and Coach Parker.
Cool. Okay. Who's your
Yeah.
coaches?
I got Coach Freddie, Benjamin, and Kyle Frost.
Nice.
And then like Coach Shino she kind of
And
bounces
yep.
back and forth.
Yeah,
And
she's
Vita's come and helped out a couple times, and
Yep.
so that's huge. I mean, I'm like fangirl over there, with
Well,
her. Yeah.
We've also had other people that train in the gym come in on sparring days too and work with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that kind of helps us hone our skills a little bit
Mix
better.
it up with something a little different,
Yep.
give you different looks,
Well, the coaches work you over no matter what.
Tag you a
but-
few times. I'm like, dang it.
show offs.
Yeah.
No, Freddie did a real good job. He started announcing it during his classes, and it was definitely credit to him for not something I really thought of.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because he has so a lot of his boxing students want to spar, and he's like, hey, if you guys want to get a little bit extra, this is what's going on. This is what the program is. This is what to expect. But come on in and get some rounds. And yeah, it's definitely a good idea, and it's been a benefit to them too.
So otherwise, you're just training with your groups, right? You're not attending other classes and sparring. And
I do
that stuff.
boxing. I used to do boxing classes at the gym every Tuesday, Thursday night.
Mhm.
And then when we started doing Wimp to Warrior, at the beginning, I would say like the first 10 weeks, I was still doing it.
Mhm.
But then I could feel my body like to get up at 4:30 or, the next morning, I was just so tired. And I was like, so I haven't been as consistent on going at night, but I
Sure.
still.
You're going every day. That's,
Yeah.
That's pretty good for
I'm
most
still-
people, I'd say.
I'm still trying, but I'm definitely going to keep doing that after. Yeah.
So the people that are your coaches now, you've both said that you're going to continue on afterwards. They're going to continue to be your coaches, but a real joy that you guys get to experience is they're also going to become your training partners in many classes. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. You'll get to fan out with Vita and beat her up.
Oh, right.
Get rounds in there.
She's so good. Yeah, she knows. I'm just like, just teach me grasshopper. Tell me whatever, anything.
Anything. Just show me something.
I think it's fun. Like, personally, like, I actually, there's some days where I'm kind of grumpy in the morning just because it's
Pretty
like,
normal.
a personal thing, but after like the first 20-30 minutes I kind of get it worked out of me, and then I leave the gym feeling good about myself, and not only being in the best physical shape I've ever been in my entire life, even when, besides being like in sports and school, but even then, like, I picked up stuff really quick, so it's not like I had to try as hard as some of the other people, because I was able to pick up something really quick and got good at it really quick. So, like, the physical part wasn't as much of a thing for me, because I'd be able to do it anyways. But now I'm actually putting my body through something that it needs to be put through, especially at my age, and three boys, like, they're only going to get bigger. And
Sure. Well, and they're going to want
according
you
to
around.
my dad, I'm only going to get smaller. So
They're going to try to take over the pride.
yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have kids, but I always look at people who have kids and think, like, you should take care of yourself more than anybody, because your kids want you around.
Well, and that's like waking up in the morning, and there's been a few days where I didn't go because I was pretty freaking sore, but then there's some days where I was sore, but I kind of look over at my son in the crib, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going.
You gotta go.
I gotta go.
Gotta go do this.
Yeah, on the weekends, my son's like, are you going to your class? He's just like, then I feel lazy. I'm like, not today.
Do any of your kids train?
No, I want to get my little 6-year-old guy in there. I think, like I said, he was diagnosed with autism, but I think it would help him, like, focus on.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get him in the little
be
kids
cool.
jiu-jitsu class.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my 6-year-old, he comes in on Fridays every once in a while. A couple of Fridays, he was trying to boss us around.
Yeah, my kids are athletes. I mean, my oldest played volleyball. My daughter, she got a full ride to play basketball.
Wow.
And so they're just, I mean, all into sports, but not necessarily, the martial arts. And so I want to get them all. I'm trying to explain to them, like, you need to get in there.
Absolutely. It's great. I think it's the best thing for everybody. That's for sure.
Me too.
So after the fight's over and you're going to continue training, do you want to still compete, or is this kind of a one-time thing? What do you think?
Well, I heard Front Street Fights is doing a fight in October.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually stopped losing weight at 165. So now I'm fighting at 170, so I'm putting a few pounds back on. But my goal was 165 to begin with, but once I started losing it, it just started coming off, and
It just melts off, man.
I'd be eating,
Where did you start? Like, what weight did you start at?
I was like 207,
Oh, wow.
right around 207.
So
And then
it's over 40 pounds.
yeah, I'm in between 163 and 165 right now. Even if I eat a full 3 meals a day.
Burning so many
So
calories.
I actually want to. I was telling Coach Jesse I want to get down to 155, because I think 155 would be a good weight. 'Cause I still got a couple of rolls I need to get rid of.
Now, walking around at 155 or competing at 155?
Walk around.
Okay.
So that'll make you featherweight.
Yeah,
When
you're
you
cutting to 145.
You'll be fighting me, so that's what I'm walking around.
Oh, we'll see what my body says. It's all about my body.
Sure.
It's going to tell me whether or not 155 is going to be a good weight, or I need to keep a little bit on.
Mm-hmm.
Just because last 3 years I've pretty much, like, ever since I lost my dad, I started gaining a little bit of weight. Because 2 years of culinary school, I was a 165 the entire time, and everybody else was eating everything that they made, and it was showing. And I didn't want to be that guy. Plus, skateboarding everywhere downtown Portland is kind of.
But no one trusts, like, a skinny chef. I'm just saying.
I heard that a lot until I tasted my barbecue, and then I'm
I'm
like,
just
oh, okay, that's good. But no, I was 165 the entire time I was there, and I didn't work out at all except for just skateboarding around. And I think back, and I'm like, man, if I was 165 when I started this, I'd probably be more in shape, but I would have less fat and stuff that I'd have to break through.
Still, man, the journey you made is pretty dang impressive.
No, it's super impressive.
That's awesome.
I'm
to see.
definitely started out humble, but I'm even more humble now and gracious, just because, like, with the coaches and doing something that they've never really done before, and then taking on people that have never done it before. Like, there's certain lines that are definitely harder than doing it coaching people that have been doing it already, or have just transferred gyms or something like that. But
Sure.
going into it knowing nothing other than watching it on TV, it's
Totally different.
definitely a blessing to be coached by these guys, for sure.
Yeah.
Is competition something you plan on continuing?
You know, it's funny. I was like, okay, I'm 41. Like, is there a really big class out there? Of, you know, I mean, if we're being honest. And we'll see after the fight, like, you know, how do you feel? I think I love competition, but I don't know. I'm going to see how Friday goes. And
At least continue training.
For sure, training. Yeah. And like I said, I feel like this is going to be some kind of venue to help me kind of just pin down what I want to do, whether it's like a nonprofit type thing or using the martial arts to create something for women. I think is really important.
Super important.
So
absolutely.
So I'm appreciative for this program for that, because I mean I would have kept boxing at the gym and just coming for classes, but it wouldn't have mentally clicked the way it has. And mine was kind of the same. Coach Mike had told me about it, and I wanted to do it. And I actually had emailed Zoe too, and we're self-employed, so you know that comes along, and we have a lot of kids, and so it was kind of like financially, I was like, well, okay, Mom wants to do this class, or you know, and I was just kind of like in my mind, but I kept feeling like pulled, like I know I want to do this. I almost felt like I needed to do this. And I had a friend say, like, you'll figure it out. Because I said, yeah, I just don't know. I think I'll just keep doing boxing, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to. And I had emailed Zoe, and she kind of said the same thing. She's like, we can work with you. Let's just show up and just go for it. And everything's just worked out to where, you know, I've been able to make it happen. And with all the kids' crazy schedules and, you know, just made it happen. So I'm really, like Brandon said, just appreciative of this opportunity. I think it's going to keep spreading. It already is. But, I mean, once people do it, then I think they can really see the benefits of it. It's not just about the working out. I mean, it is that, but it's the mental side, I think, could help so many people. Because there's so many people walking around that are just, everyone's going through their own stuff. I mean, everyone has their own.
Just a down on your luck kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, everyone.
Yeah. It's finding that little niche.
Yeah.
That will give you a little bit more of a spark, and that was what it was for me, I think. Because it started out as like a bucket list thing. Like, I always wanted to do an amateur MMA fighter. But then you start training, and you're like, okay, now I'm getting my butt whooped. But at the same time, like, personally, you're just fighting mentally, mentally and physically. But
yeah, because every time I thought, okay, I've learned some stuff, like, and then sparring day would come, I'd just be like, I would always just go home driving like, what the hell am I doing?
Did I learn
just
anything this week?
tagged. Yeah, but then the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with, you know, getting hit and just figuring out what am I doing wrong, dropping my hand, you know.
Yeah, I think what it sounds like for both of you is you didn't pick up a hobby, you really adopted a lifestyle.
Right.
Which is way different. Like anybody can pick up any hobby, but when it becomes really your identity, you know, it changes your identity and who you are. And it's pretty powerful to hear.
Makes you look at things a little different too.
Sure.
Like everybody learns something new, and then you could always change your perspectives on things that you've had stored in memory for a long time, but you try something new and you get a different look at it, and you're like, oh man, like, and that's kind of what MMA was, because I wasn't really a gym guy, and like I always wanted to go to the gym, but I'm like, I don't need to go to the gym.
You don't want to be a meathead.
It's really a different thing than you thought it was, right? Just the culture is what you're talking about.
My brother Brandon said, sounds like you found your people. I was talking to him one day, like, you know, some people, like, outside of the gym, just, they don't get it.
Nope.
They're like, why would you do this? Like, why would you want to fight? Why would you, like, it just doesn't make sense to them. And I'm like, it's okay if it's not for you, but, like, for me, this is what I love it. And I was just kind of, he and I are really close, and I was just kind of telling him all these things, and he's like, sounds like you found your people. So, like, yeah.
Well, even doing this Wimp to Warrior, sometimes you look at programs and it looks a little bit bigger, like, how would I word that? Just the way it's marketed, it just seems like it's only that side of it, and then until you actually experience it. And that's kind of what I was afraid of. Like, it was just another promo, like try it for this class and this and that, and then you get in there and do it with real MMA fighters, and you're blown away, kind of, even walking away with knowing what you know now, and it's just, I don't know, it's a totally different experience.
So you found your people too.
I think what's cool is everyone comes from something different, right? Like we're business owners. I'm a mom of 6 kids. I mean, I love sports, just all these different things. When people see someone, they have an automatic judgment of who they think you are, right? And I try my best not to do that, but as human beings, we all do it. You just kind of size someone up for what you think, right?
Totally.
And what's cool is that everyone at the gym, all the people we train with, the coaches, bring something different. That if I had not done this experience, I wouldn't have met them. I feel like I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason, and people are placed in your lives at a certain time, and it's for a reason. And I'm just grateful that on my path right now that I've met these people, and that that they've blessed my life in the different ways that they have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now you guys are less than a week away from competition. This is Friday, August 2nd.
Yeah.
Where?
Knitting Factory.
How do people find it? How do they get tickets?
You can go to TicketWeb, just search Wimp Warrior Idaho. If you go to the gym website, go in their social media, you'll find a link. So yeah, you can get tickets on TicketWeb. There's floor seats, general admission, upper balcony, and then you can hit these guys up too.
Yep.
And they're actually getting a little percentage of what they sell. So check out online. You can find their name, pull it up from the drop down, and then it obviously gives credit to them. Or you just buy it from them in person. Then obviously we know who sold them the ticket. So. Yeah, we're hoping to pump it up. It's been a long time since the Knitting Factory has had MMA, many years, and it should be fun. I'm stoked that we get to bring it back. This crew of individuals, and our gym gets to bring it back to them, and hopefully we'll sell that place out and just blow the roof off of it.
Oh, I think we'll be pretty close to being sold out.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a packed place.
It's gonna be a blast. We're all looking forward to it. I'm super pumped to be there. Be checking it out. It'll be a lot of fun. Any parting thoughts before we finish up here, Brandon, about your journey or your upcoming fight?
I just want to thank Coach Jesse, Freddie, Ben, Kyle, Parker, all the coaches, Shino, Daniel.
Now you said Jesse's not your coach, right?
Not currently.
You don't have to say that because he's here.
He's been all the way up until.
He's been the lead man for the most part.
Keep going. What else?
And a big thank you to Richie Craney and his team, because, like I was saying, it seemed like bigger than what it is, but even Richie Craney being an owner, he's easy to talk to, and he'll actually reach out to you and wish you luck and everything like that. And that's super pumped too, because you figure a busy guy like that does all his stuff, he still wants to be personable with people that are doing the program, and to me that hit a good spot in my heart. And just the overall gym family in itself, I just gotta be thankful too for. So
awesome, man. We're glad you're part of it. How about you, Wendy?
Obviously to the coaches, Jesse, Daniel, all of them, Parker, they're my, corner guys, but Ben and Freddie, all those guys have been huge, instrumental in that. My biggest thing I would say is just, if you're thinking about doing, martial arts, don't be intimidated. I think anything new is a little bit intimidating. But just go for it, because you won't know unless you try. And that's kind of been my biggest thing with anything in life. You don't know until you try it. If you try it and you don't love it, then, you
find something else.
You find something different. But I think it's huge for every person to get into the gym and just work with, the team that they have there. And you'll find someone you click with different people, but just the overall. The fear about doing it or trying it it's just in your own mind.
Sure.
We all will have a mind warp in our own head about the reasons why we can't or shouldn't. And once you get past that and just realize everyone else there is kind of doing the same thing, some people are better at faking it, but.
Well, it sounds like both of you giving it a shot. You've really gained more even than you thought you would just by giving it a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty powerful thing. What about you, Coach Popular? Any parting words for these guys of the program?
Just that I'm really appreciative of you guys, because I had some doubts, I guess, as far as how well we would be able to run the program. Being able to, I guess, introduce it to people that wouldn't walk into a gym like ours normally, and make it safe, make it so that they were comfortable, mentally, like going to those vulnerable places, and being willing to like put themselves in some danger, and then even the people that started but didn't stick it out, I see areas where I could have done better to keep them on board, keep them plugged in, keep them motivated. I'll definitely be able to make those changes next time, and obviously to you guys that did see it through. I really appreciate it, because I think you guys are kind of like the flagship group. That, and there's when your story is told, like, or you're relating it to other people, it's going to resonate, and it's going to attract more. You and Kirsten, were the two women that made it through the program, and I know it's piqued the interest of other women within the gym, and it's going to reach people outside of our gym to come in and do it and have the confidence to do it, because it is pretty scary. So I appreciate you guys a lot.
It's definitely been a confidence builder for me, because I think that was probably my hardest part through this whole thing, is believing in myself.
Yep. No, I'm super excited. I think they're going to be great fights, and win or lose, these guys are going to go perform and really put on a show and make themselves proud and make their families proud, and I'm just fortunate that I get to sit ringside for it.
Yeah, you get the best seat in the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Except for mine. I think I might have the best seat in the house. I'm commentating your fights.
Oh, there
nice.
you go. Nice.
Yeah. So I get to watch all you guys. It's going to be great. There might be a little bit of cheering for you guys because you came into the show.
Thanks.
So we'll mix it in there a little bit. Now, I noticed on the poster it says Idaho Series 1. Is this something we can look forward to seeing coming back?
Definitely. I was actually just talking with Scott about it today, and I think we're going to shoot for early next year, a little bit earlier, I think in maybe January. It's definitely been a big commitment for our coaching staff. We're going to take some time to regroup, make sure, we talk about, some of the things that we could have done better, and, just be able to roll it out next year. But at the event, if you're listening, we're going to have a table set up. Anybody that's interested is going to have the opportunity to go over to that table. We're going to get your info. We're going to start reaching out to you, and we can do more. I know we can do more. We can help more people, and I want to use this opportunity on Friday night to show what you can accomplish. Give people an idea of what a winning or a finished product from somebody that started this program can look like, and I just want to be able to reach more people.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And I mean, just from listening to you guys talk, it's pretty life changing. It's not very superficial. It runs pretty deep. So you definitely recommend it to others who are thinking about it.
Oh yeah, don't be afraid to push your boundaries, because you'll never know who you could be.
Right.
That's about as simple as I could say it.
Yeah, you're only going to regret the things you didn't try. You know what I mean? If you're on your
sure.
deathbed, you're not going to be like, and I'm really upset that I tried that and I sucked at it.
Right.
That's what I didn't want. I didn't want to be, I didn't ever try boxing. I
Who
always
knows
wanted
what
to
could have
do
happened.
it, but yeah. So just do it.
Powerful motivator. Well, thanks for coming down, guys. Appreciate you spending time with me. We're looking forward to
Appreciate
your
you
fights.
guys.
They're going to be on August 2nd, Friday, Knitting Factory. Talked about how to get tickets, so everybody come check out Brandon and Wendy make their amateur debut fights. Thanks, guys.
All right,
you.
Thank you.